Anchorage is cold. There are no major cities nearby, and there aren't many products to export. On top of that, it's located in a very remote part of northern North America. Yet planes are constantly arriving and departing. Let's find out why Anchorage Airport is one of the busiest airports in the world for air cargo. The American city of Anchorage is unique for many reasons. At first glance, you wouldn't think it's a major city, but it has a relatively large population. With around 290,000 residents, it is home to nearly 40% of Alaska's total population. Located above the 61st parallel north, only 3 cities in the entire world with larger populations are closer to the North Pole: Surgut, Yakutsk, and Arkhangelsk, all of them in Russia. But there's one fact that really stands out when we look at airports around the world. Ted Stevens Anchorage International Airport ranks as the 4th busiest cargo airport on the planet. At first, that might seem surprising. When you think about what makes a major cargo airport, several factors usually come to mind. For example, being close to a huge consumer market, being a major exporting hub, or occupying a central location on the map. But none of those apply here. If we look at the 10 busiest cargo airports in the world, Anchorage seems like the odd one out. For all the others, it's easy to understand why they rank so highly. Airports in Hong Kong, Shanghai, Seoul, Guangzhou, and Taipei, for example, are all located in some of the most densely populated regions of Asia. These regions handle enormous volumes of international trade. Doha, meanwhile, is a major regional hub. It is the home base of Qatar Airways and offers direct cargo connections to 67 other airports. The remaining airports, all located in the United States, each have their own explanation. Memphis is home to FedEx's global distribution hub. Something similar happens in Louisville, which serves as the global hub for UPS. Miami, on the other hand, is used as a cargo hub by several airlines, including Avianca Cargo, DHL, Amerijet, and LATAM Cargo, while also handling significant operations for FedEx and UPS. But all 3 of these U.S. airports benefit from highly strategic locations. Memphis and Louisville are well connected to the 48 contiguous U.S. states. Miami, farther to the southeast, serves as a major gateway to Latin America. None of these advantages apply to Anchorage Airport. In terms of its location within the United States, it is geographically isolated, thousands of kilometers from the country's main economic centers. It is also not a major technology or industrial hub with large volumes of exports. Very few people live in Anchorage or in Alaska as a whole, so imports are not especially significant either. On top of that, the climate presents additional challenges. Cold temperatures, snow, and strong winds are common in this part of the world, conditions that are far from ideal for aircraft takeoffs and landings. So how can it be the 4th busiest cargo airport on Earth? There are several reasons that explain the importance of this airport. Some are rooted in the past, others are driven by the present, and a few even point toward the future. It could remain that way well into the future. Looking back, Anchorage Airport became extremely important during the Cold War. At the time, Soviet airspace was closed to the United States and its allies. Take a flight from London to Tokyo, for example. The shortest route between the 2 cities passes over a large portion of Russian territory. But during the Cold War, that wasn't an option. Instead, aircraft had to fly the opposite way. Since planes back then had much shorter ranges than they do today, they needed to stop in Anchorage to refuel. That's how the airport rose to prominence. It wasn't because Anchorage itself was the destination, but because it became a key stopover for long-haul flights across the Northern Hemisphere. However, after the collapse of the Soviet Union and with the arrival of longer-range aircraft, that stop was no longer necessary. Today, for example, there are even non-stop flights between Singapore and New York. As a result, in the early 1990s, Anchorage Airport entered a period of crisis. Since the airport plays such a vital role in the city's economy, the situation could have been devastating. But a new opportunity emerged. As you might expect, it involved air cargo. Not because Anchorage is the origin or destination of the freight, but because it serves as a convenient stopover on cargo routes across the Northern Hemisphere, especially those connecting Asia and North America. Modern aircraft are technically capable of flying these long distances non-stop, but using Anchorage is often an economic decision rather than a technical one. It simply makes many cargo flights more profitable. Take a flight from Hong Kong to Memphis, 2 of the busiest cargo airports in the world. The journey can easily be completed non-stop. However, if we add a stop in Anchorage to refuel, the aircraft can carry much more cargo. With a refueling stop, less space is needed for fuel, and much more can be used for consumer goods. On a flat map, this decision might seem strange. As we've seen, Anchorage is far from any major city, which are all located much farther south. But the perspective changes when you look at a globe. Most routes require almost no detour to stop there. The equation is simple: less fuel, more cargo, all thanks to a location that lies along many of the busiest routes in the Northern Hemisphere. The airport has become much more than just a refueling stop. It also creates additional logistical advantages. For example, cargo can be transferred to other aircraft heading to different destinations, making the entire network more efficient. Even flight crews can be changed there. Because so much freight passes through Anchorage, the number of possible connections and routing combinations increases, further improving the system. All of this happens despite the region's harsh environment. Although in recent decades temperatures have risen year after year, and the impact near the Arctic has been enormous. While that's bad news for the planet, it presents a unique opportunity for Anchorage. As Arctic ice continues to melt, more ships will be able to use northern shipping routes for international trade. Imagine a cargo ship traveling from London to Seattle on the US Pacific coast. Today, it must pass through the Panama Canal, but in the future, it may be more practical to sail through the Arctic and cross the Bering Strait, reducing the journey by more than 20%. Something similar applies to trade routes between Europe and the Far East. Instead of sailing through the Mediterranean, the Suez Canal, and the Strait of Malacca, ships could travel north of Russia. For example, a voyage from Rotterdam, Europe's largest port, to Seoul could become more than 50% shorter. That would allow goods to be shipped faster and at a lower cost. And once again, those ships would pass through the Bering Strait. That would make Alaska an increasingly important hub for global trade. Anchorage already has decades of experience serving as a cargo hub, connecting one side of the Northern Hemisphere to the other. Do you think this city will become even more important in the future? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.